So, let's talk about something that's been making waves lately, the marriage of Shaman Durek to Princess Märtha Louise of Norway. Honestly, when I first heard about this, I was intrigued. Marrying into royalty is a big deal for anyone, but when you throw in a guy who claims is a spiritual healer with a seriously colorful past, you can't help but wonder what's really going on. Durek, who's 49 and hails from the United States, has managed to turn his life into something that reads like a wild Hollywood script. He went from getting arrested for not paying a bus fare to becoming engaged to a princess. And let's not forget, he's got some pretty high-profile clients like Gwyneth Paltrow, which only adds to the mystique surrounding him. But what really caught my attention is how he insists that being part of one of Europe's most esteemed royal families hasn't exactly taken him out of his comfort zone. That's a bold statement, right? Now, Durek claims he grew up surrounded by wealth and luxury, with private planes and domestic servants at his beck and call, all thanks to his successful architect father. But here's where things get murky. His own mother has openly disputed this. She says his childhood wasn't as cushy as is made it out to be. And this isn't just a case of a little exaggeration. There are some pretty serious questions about his past, including the fact that he spent time in jail and has a history of arrests. One of the most jaw-dropping things Durek has claimed is that he died in 2002 due to renal failure and then came back to life. This is apparently what set him on his path to becoming a shaman. If that doesn't make you raise an eyebrow, I don't know what will. And it gets even more complex. He raised over $20,000 for a kidney transplant, with his sister stepping up as the donor. His fiancé at the time, Hank Greenberg, was right by his side during this, helping him fundraise. But things took a dark turn when Durek was arrested for attacking Hank in 2015, ending their 8-year relationship. Hank later described Durek as not a good man, which, let's be honest, doesn't exactly scream fairy tale romance. It seems like a lot of these past incidents have flown under the radar, possibly because they've been overshadowed by more recent controversies, like Durek's outrageous suggestion that childhood cancer could be caused by unhappiness. That statement alone is enough to make you question his judgment. Unsurprisingly, his publisher dropped him after he made that claim in his book Spirit Hacking. What really gets me is the pattern of conflicting stories about his background. Durek paints a picture of a family steeped in shamanic tradition, with roots tracing back to Ghana via Haiti, but records and his own relatives suggest otherwise. His great-grandmother, who he claims fled to Haiti and became a spiritualist, was actually born and died in New Orleans. Plus, his aunt, the famous opera singer Shirley Verrett, described their family as strictly Catholic, with no room for the kind of voodoo practices Durek talks about. To add to the complexity, Durek has shared some pretty troubling details about his childhood, including being sexually abused by a babysitter and struggling with alcohol and drug abuse. He even admitted to being homophobic and hating being black as a child, which he says led him to bleach his skin and hair, something that ultimately caused his hair to fall out, leaving him bald to this day. Durek's relationship with his mother seems strained, to say the least. She's publicly refuted his claims about their supposed wealth, and he and Princess Märtha Louise even sent her a cease and desist letter. That's pretty heavy stuff. His half-sister also jumped into the fray, accusing the couple of riding their 81-year-old mother too hard. And if you thought that was the end of the drama, think again. His childhood friend Danielle Washington stepped in to back up his claims of wealth, describing him as one of the richest kids in their school. But who do you believe when the stories are so conflicting? And then there's the bizarre story of Durek's supposed death and resurrection in 2002. The details are all over the place. Sometimes he says he was 27, other times 28 or 29. He's claimed that he was dead for 4 minutes before being revived, during which time he had an otherworldly experience that only strengthened his shamanic powers. This whole incident supposedly left him with brain damage and needing dialysis for years before finally getting a kidney transplant from his sister. But the plot thickens. In 2015, Durek was arrested on domestic violence charges at the home he shared with Hank. Their relationship had been intense, with Durek reportedly controlling every aspect of his former assistant Tiana Grigo's life. She's spoken out about how he didn't want her to have any serious relationships or even spend time with her son. And yet, despite all this, Princess Märtha Louise seems head over heels for him. One of the more outlandish claims Durek has made is that he's a hybrid of a space lizard. Yes, you read that right. He's also talked about getting people to vomit during his sessions to expel poisons from their bodies, which sounds more than a little questionable to me. What's even more curious is how the royal family is handling all this. The wedding was covered by Netflix and Hello magazine, but Norwegian media access was limited, which is quite unusual for a royal event. It seems like the royal family is trying to keep a low profile during the wedding, possibly to avoid being associated too closely with Durek's controversial past. So, what do I think about all this? Honestly, I'm torn. On one hand, everyone has a past, and people can change. But on the other hand, when someone's history is this messy and full of inconsistencies, it's hard not to be skeptical. Marrying into royalty brings a whole new level of scrutiny, and I can't help but wonder how much of this will affect not just Durek, but also Princess Märtha Louise and the Norwegian royal family as a whole. Only time will tell how this all plays out, but one thing's for sure, this is not your average royal love story.